Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, First Take, talking about why this is such an important year for Deshaun Watson.
They went to the playoffs last year starting 5 quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, who's in, I think, his 17th season, came off the couch and took them to the playoffs. At some point, we got to go pay the piper. At some point, we got to prove that we're worth all the conversation and what the organization went through to acquire me, and then to pay me the fully guaranteed contract that basically got him from one situation to the other. It's Deshaun Watson. 4 years ago, Deshaun Watson was on track to be the best player in football outside of maybe Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Right now, he's struggling to prove he's still a starter in this league. I don't think that's unfair to say. This is a football team that absolutely has the capability to make the AFC Championship game when it comes to their roster. We don't know who the quarterback is anymore. We don't know.
I get what Dan Orlovsky's saying. Two things. Watson was hurt last year. Quarterbacks get hurt in the NFL. The suspension, I get that. You can criticize that. He's 8-4 as a starter, and he was hurt last year. He hasn't been able to play 4 weeks in a row. I mean, the suspension, he played 6 weeks in a row, but it was after not playing for 300 and how many ever days.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that he hasn't played well. I mean, we can debate that in some ways, but the reality is he hasn't played. And I mean, like you said, you don't go in a season planning to get injured. You don't intend to get injured. I mean, no one wants to have season-ending surgery to fix a fractured shoulder. No one wants to have a high ankle sprain. Those are things that don't just happen. Those are things that happen, just in the course of an NFL season, no matter how much you protect yourself as a quarterback. And for Deshaun Watson, we've talked about all summer, he needs to be out there. He needs to be playing. He's got to find some way to stay healthy out there and play, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row. He simply has to. And I think when he's been out there, especially last season, outside of the Pittsburgh game, he's played pretty well, especially, like I said, the Titans and the Cardinals games, the second half of the Ravens game. Those have been some great moments from Deshaun Watson, but they've been few and far between because, again, hasn't been out there. So at some point he's got to be able to stay healthy. That's why the Browns also have to figure out this offensive line thing. They have to get their tackles back, and they have to figure out how to keep Deshaun Watson upright, keep him from taking as many hits as they can, because they're going to need him to be able to play a long stretch of games. Because if they have to go through 5 quarterbacks again, I don't know if they're going to win 11 games. I know this roster's talented, but I think we could all recognize they got kind of lucky that Joe Flacco got on the heater he did at the end of the season to get him into the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know what? Nobody wants to play better than Deshaun Watson. You can tell it. I mean, he wants to put the noise down so he can just go back to being a good quarterback in the NFL.